For my junior project, I decided to compose a piece of music on the piano. So yes, before I start, I shall pass around my portfolio, and in the back is my actual composition. If you want to look through it, 10 pages long. Okay. Alright, so before I start my senior project, I had a lot of topics to try and go through to finally narrow it down to what I chose. There was building a shelter, staying in the forest, backpacking alone. My grandpa's a carpenter, I could have built a bench. Learning the drums, guitar, fly a plane. There's so many choices. Yeah. You know what that means.
Makeup artist.
Oh. Yeah. Alright, so the choice was finally made. I would compose a song on the piano. So I thought to myself, how hard could it be? I've been in band for 7 years now. Last year we had to transpose a jazz song to an ensemble song. That was a hard class project where we took an actual jazz arrangement and put it into a concert band style. So we had to change keys and write music. That really helped me with learning how to write notes and key signatures and bass, clef, treble clef, whatnot. So I also understand how to read music from my 7 years in band. I play the piano. I had lessons for about 4 years when I was younger. I know time and key signatures well from band and the piano. I had the supplies needed, which was pencil, paper, and a piano. And I had many potential mentors. Start with set. So the process began. I had to think of a way to start my song. I wanted to create a song that I would like to hear, something that wouldn't be boring for myself to sit around for hours and write. So I listened to many different styles of music. You can see Mozart to just a little bit down here, poetry, country, big band, music, everything. And who inspired me, you may be asking? Oh, God. So I was listening to one of my favorite albums, Red Hot Chili Peppers Live in Hyde Park album. It came out a couple years ago. It's really great. One of my favorite songs on it, by the way, it has a pretty awesome jam session at the end of it, and I listened to it and I really liked it. So I decided to try and learn on the piano, and I'll play it for you right now. Woo! Thanks, you little thing here. So we all know, by the way, I'm hoping. So basically, I sat down at the piano with this playing, and I played around with notes until I could figure out what it actually was. Yeah, so that was the basic start of my project. There's a 2-bar lick. 2-bar lick that kind of segued into my entire piece. 2 bars. Turn into 188 by the end. And so creating my song was obviously quite hard. After I got that 2-bar lick, I segued into learning different chord or different melodies that could go along with that. I listened to the solos they played, and I really liked those, so I kind of went off those for a little bit. And that was one movement, and I made 4 other movements, just original. And in doing so, I had to come up with different chord progressions. My lovely, this was my best friend, by the way. I just lie on my bed and play with it. Yeah. So I came up with 5 different chord progressions. I kind of moved away from that one. So basically, that's the first movement. second movement is so that's the second movement. The third movement's one you just heard. Alright, hold on. That was oh yeah, and then there's this one. That I base my melody off of. And the final one is different. Yeah, well, I'll get that. Anyway. Yeah, so that was creating my song. It was fun for me. I don't know, playing the piano is something I really enjoy. It's probably my favorite instrument to play. So, yeah, after I got the chord progressions, all I had to do was make little transition lines to segue into each one. That was lovely. So learning my song, after I'd think of a piece of music in my head, I would really have to sit down at the piano and attempt to figure out how to play it. It was kind of a pain when I didn't really know what I was doing at some point, that's for sure. Oh. Anyway, yeah, learning my song, it was complicated, and I'd hear it in my head and it sounded really simple. But then I sit down at the piano and it would be a lot more complicated than I ever imagined. Just kind of lovely little piano keys. So it was really frustrating a lot. I kind of had to practice a lot, and I'm not really good at practicing my instruments. I'm not yeah. So, and then composing my song. Well, this is when I took all my ideas, my learned piano piece, and put it on paper. Let's just say I really didn't like it. It was much harder than I ever imagined it could ever be. Basically, there was so much you had to worry about. First, you had to figure out what key it was in. This is looking at pretty much the blackness on the piano, and each combination has a different key. So I had to get the correct notes, or else my work would sound ridiculous when someone else would play it. There was the rhythms that were a problem. There's one measure I'll show you in my piece that took me 30 minutes to figure out. It was late at night, and I was sitting there just frustrated as hell over this stupid measure, but I got it. Dynamics, I had to think about that because I want it to be played quiet in some places, loud in others. Then there's the pedal. Not only do you have your left and right hand to worry about, but there's a pedal on the piano that dampens the sound. So there's like versus kind of makes some noise to hold themselves up. And then one of my favorite parts was aligning measures. Writing the piece looks really sloppy if the measures got off and hard to read also. So I had to constantly be measuring with a ruler to try and get my measures straight. And my other favorite part was aligning the notes inside the measures. There's when you're reading piano music, you want to read from left to right. So if your left hand plays a rhythm that's not synchronized with the right hand, you will just read it wrong naturally. That was a pain. And legibility. You'll see in my piece that I started really trying. It looks really, it kind of looked, I guess, sloppy in a clean kind of way. Like, you could tell I really put a lot of time into drawing straight lines and everything, but it still didn't look really well. But at the end of the piece, you could tell that I didn't give a crap anymore. I just was trying to get through it. However, my handwriting was much better, so I was kind of